This is last minute. Welcome. I am Rebel Heart Rose. I repeat, I know this is last minute, but I couldn't do the video on my phone. It needs charging. So, I'm here to discuss Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet's relationship. And when it was brought to my attention by one of my friends. When she said, "Oh, Elizabeth did Darcy wrong." However, I think some people tend to forget Darcy looked down on her family because they weren't as rich as they were. He had a lot of pride and she had a lot of prejudice, or both of them had a mixture of both. I love Darcy, and I love Elizabeth, and I love the way they're coupled together in Pride and Prejudice. But it's not fair saying she's the only one who done him wrong. I'm gonna say that's how society is on some fronts. They don't get what it took the woman to get to that boiling point, or to the point where she will speak up for herself. That's Elizabeth. She's straightforward, she's blunt, and she'll tell you exactly what she thinks, and that's honorable too. No, she ain't perfect. She retaliated when Darcy kind of said she was just okay, and she overheard him. I think that bruised her because she liked him at the beginning. And I think she tried to get along with him. And another thing is, people forget Darcy broke up her sister and his friend, all because of family, all because of their connection to all because of the Bennets as a family. See, he looked down on them, uh, which is something that's very much, and he puts his foot in his mouth a lot of times as well as when he proposed to her the first time. He said it was against his better judgment, basically, and it insults her at the same time. I love Darcy. You could tell he just he was like the shy type. He didn't know how to react to them because he's not used to over friendly people. That's what the Bennets are, overly friendly. And I guess he just thought they were low class compared to them sophisticated types. And it's funny how in relationships the everyone assumes the female's wrong all the time. The first thing, oh, she must have done him dirty, she must have did something. However, the guy's at fault too. Sometimes it's both sides, not just one or the other, but I think what I was thinking about was how come society always puts blame on the woman first at times. I know this century is turning around. I know it's 2020, it's turning around now, but it's still there. It's still there, trust me. Um, Elizabeth is so blunt that I relate to Elizabeth. She says exactly what she means. She's blunt, and sometimes she's standoffish because she doesn't want to settle. But yet at the same time, she could be wrong, like she was about Darcy. And I love how Darcy made up, how he explained himself. And if they were open to each other from the get go, none of the misunderstandings would have ever happened. And this comes before the time of cell phones or the internet and trying to read people's minds over the internet. Just imagine. And there are there's a there's episodes online of Darcy and Elizabeth and their friends about it's it's about at this age of electronics. They set the uh, I can't get the words out of my mouth. Sorry for hearing me ramble, but you know what? You're gonna hear me anyway. Here it is. Um, they set the scenes in a more modern era, so it's I do really would like a movie that isn't Hallmark or isn't a Christmas movie with Elizabeth and Darcy, but one based on this era. How would they handle it in this era? And what if Darcy was the woman and Elizabeth was the man? Call him Elise or something. Or it could be, I don't know, something related to that. Kind of mix it around a bit. Walk in each other's shoes, exactly. Think like what your partner would think. But they were similar, but they misunderstood one another at first, which is beautiful, but yet at the same time a headache. But I love how they were brought together because of a situation. One situation they were bonded. My question is, why does society in the relationship it's always, oh, the woman's lying about the man, the woman's lying about the man, when the man could have done the same thing? Or I'm not talking about gay because it ain't happening so much. I don't think in the LGBTQ as much as it is in straight relationships. So it's always, oh, they're lying, they're lying. Do you understand? I'm not. I do not mean to like not include anyone in this, but I'm saying in straight relationships, they assume the woman's always lying in certain areas. I know some women do lie. So do men. That ain't based off of gender. Anyone can lie. But it's like in some situations, like, what's one could think of that they always say when their stories don't add up and when they switch. the stories, that's when you know not to believe them. But if their story is like sticking to it, like consistent, that's when you have to believe them, you know? But you always have to take something seriously, like an allegation. I have noticed this. I have, let's just say, I know some people, a personal situation where it wasn't the woman's fault. It was the guy's. But however, at first, some the guy's side tried to paint out the woman as evil, that they didn't do anything wrong. But guess what? That's in every gender that or any non-binary. Anyone can do that. I think it's a human trait, scared of taking. If I'm making any sense at all, it's I guess, a human trait that doesn't want to take responsibility for their actions. So they deflect. Basically, that's called a deflection. But we see in Elizabeth Bennet's relationship with Mr. Darcy, yeah, they were standoffish. After she heard him say she was okay. But, and after the fact that she heard that somebody wasn't invited to a party because of someone, it kind of got her suspicious. So she believed the first person that told her a story instead of getting all of it. That's on her, yes. That, that was a misunderstanding, and that is everyone has issues with that one. But Mr. Darcy, I think she was starting to fall in love with him before Wickham, to be honest with you. Well, I think at the first sight they fell. And she was surprised by how he was showing her kindness when her sister stayed sick at their house. Well, with them, Darcy and his group. Yeah, I think the main problem was it wasn't either one. It was just the way they handled the communication, basically. And you should know her. She reads. She should know. But his actions didn't exactly help. If he was merely open, it would have been settled, but we wouldn't have a good story or character development if it happened so fast. What I'm getting at is she wasn't the only one who made mistakes in that. Call both sides out. Not just one. Unless it's evil, evil, evil. I'm just talking about relationship wise. We gotta look at ourselves. I know from my experience, I take responsibility for my actions. I have. There is no need to deflect when I know I was wrong. facing up to it and opening up to it is the only way to be free and making amends. The more Elizabeth learned about Darcy, the more she realized she was wrong. That's human nature. You're going to make mistakes. And so is Darcy. Uh, I didn't like his attitude towards her family either at first. And anyone would have shut anyone off if they acted far superior than everyone else. To be to be honest, I think the shyness got to him. Like me, at first I'm very quiet, observant. Get to know me, I'm talkative. Like I'm on here, I'm very talkative. I won't shut up. Uh, I think in person I come off as standoffish, and in my comments I do too. Not meaning to, of course. I believe intent really does matter to someone who doesn't care if they hurt anyone or they did it anyway just because they want to. I think intent does matter. And some relationships need to be repaired and kept. You know, I love how they realize that it shouldn't matter where you come from. If you love each other, you make it work. And she fell in love with Darcy even more because he made up for his misunderstanding of her and her family's character. Lack of propriety shown by your father, by your mother, and occasionally your father. Yeah. Let me ask, would anyone want a partner who looked down on their family, thinking that they're better than they are? Like they're high and mighty, stuck up, self absorbed. That's how he came off at first. And Elizabeth, she's blunt, she's honest, she'll tell you exactly how she feels. And she shut her mouth and regretted it at times. But when she found out, well, I would say this: Darcy should not have broken up her sister and his friend because he did not know her sister well. For one. Two, it was none of his business to stuck his nose into their relationship, even though he thought of it in service of a friend. No. And he should understand it because he's shy himself. He didn't even show that much interest in Elizabeth at first. He's similar to Jane, too. He should have known that, duh. And that's not winning a woman over. is having you break up her sister's relationship. Yeah, that then she finds out on the same date you proposed. Yeah, pretty much is pretty much unforgivable at that point because he should have just tried to get to know her sister more before he set a judgment. But again, they bring out the best in each other. And they learned again from one another different sides. One's rich and one's in a poor community. And sometimes you don't understand one another because you come from two different worlds. But you can if both are willing to learn or remember what it was like. I know society, I mean, a lot of people, most of the people, when they gossip, is usually wanting to trash the woman before the guy. It's changing slowly, but it's still there. It's still there. Oh, excuse me. I like to call it out on both sides of a partnership to make it fair. Darcy's a good man overall. His intentions were good, but everyone knows that's the reason you can forgive him. Intent actually matters. His attitude at first changed because of Elizabeth. I know her family wasn't perfect or easy to deal with, but the sister running away, yeah, pretty much. But he shouldn't have stuck his nose up in the air at him. Should have given him a chance. I know not a lot of families are easy to deal with. And there's some families that you should just stay away from at times because they're toxic. I'm in that position right now. I'm trying to keep the peace for the time being. So, this family, my mom's similar to her in a paranoia state, but both are scary when they're angry. Some things takes time to get over. Your childhood, yeah, you tend to. It takes a while to get over the childhood and growing up. You know, this. It's just. It does. It begs the question: what do y'all think? I mean, what would y'all think? Y'all could leave it in the comments or look me up on Twitter if you want to discuss it or Instagram. Um, We could discuss it further. I want to know y'all's opinion on it. On why is it in a, I'm just saying, in a straight relationship, or where, yeah, in a straight relationship where guy does something the girl gets blamed for. Why is it like that? And I know it's changing, but why that we still have the mentality to put most all of the blame on the woman and not put it on the man as too. Make it fair, you know? And then there's some cases where all the blame falls on the man, and you can't say the woman was blameless either. I'm covering both sides. I'd say if you messed up in a relationship, it takes two to actually work it out together. Not one or the other, but both. And if you want to change for the better, be less toxic, you work it out. You talk and have that dialogue and make it happen. But you can't blame one side all the time or the other, basically. In any relationship, regardless of gender, regardless of who you are, any relationship. It's also owning what you do, being self aware, as opposed to that. I don't think Darcy was self aware he was acting a certain way. And he probably wasn't used to being around very, very friendly people like the Bennets and other members of that society. And I liked how Elizabeth stood up to Darcy on occasions because he needed it. He needed it. He really needed his ego to be dropped because hers was too. And plus, he needed to. Everyone needs someone to stand up to them, to tell you when you're wrong. That's how they hold you accountable for your actions. That's needed. I'm not an expert, but I'm a work in progress, and I'm learning and growing as I go. And I love Darcy and Elizabeth as their characters grew together. Yeah, I want to know y'all's opinion. I'm going to call it quits right now. And thanks for hearing me out. And ciao for now. And have a good Thanksgiving. Or I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving and had a good family time or not. It was peaceful this year. For me, anyway. Um, no fights, no arguments. That's an improvement. Okay, I'm gonna end it right here, and I hope y'all have a great weekend ahead of you, and hit me up. You know,